Let's say a foreign partner has purchased a military-grade drone, and now they need to transfer it to an allied nation. Or perhaps they need to send a highly sensitive sensor down the supply chain to a subcontractor. Under ITAR sections 120.51 and 120.52, the foreign partner cannot simply box up that hardware and ship it. Unilateral movement of these items by a foreign party is strictly prohibited by U.S. law. Before a single piece of equipment changes hands and before legal ownership transfers, you must secure explicit prior written approval from the Directorate of Defense Trade Controls, or DDTC. To get that permission, you will route your request through the Defense Export Control and Compliance System, DCECS. Specifically, you will use the General Correspondence Module to submit a Form DS-6004. Managing this downstream movement requires strict adherence to national security protocols. The process is designed to ensure sensitive U.S. technology never reaches an unauthorized end user. To start the process, you need two things: an identity-verified DECCS login, and, if you're an empowered official submitting the request, a valid digital certificate. Log into your dashboard and navigate to the licensing module. From there, select the General Correspondence Request to open a new Form DS-6004. The first thing the system asks for is the original export authorization reference. This is usually the DSP-5 license number, a TAA agreement number, or the specific exemption citation that allowed the item out of the U.S. originally. When you input that reference number, DECCS validates it and automatically pulls in the original export data, bringing over the exact item description and the initial destination. Anchoring your new request directly to the original authorization creates an unbroken, verifiable chain of custody for the controlled technology. As you move through the form, you have to establish exactly who holds the item now and who will hold it next. In a complex global supply chain, this distinction requires absolute clarity. First, input the exact legal entity name and physical facility address of the current foreign possessor. Next, provide those exact same details, the full legal name and address, for the proposed new recipient or destination. Take note if this transfer is part of a corporate merger or acquisition. Submitting a 5-day MAD notification does not transfer your export authorizations. You still have to file a separate GC request for the actual transfer of the items. With the parties defined, you have to state your justification and scope. You must explicitly explain why this retransfer is necessary, whether for joint military exercises, for depot-level maintenance, or integration into a larger system. If the hardware in question is categorized as significant military equipment, or SME, you are required to attach a newly executed Form DSP-83. This document must contain the physical signature of the ultimate foreign recipient. Absolute precision in naming these corporate parties and justifying the scope of the transfer prevents the DDTC from issuing a return without action, keeping your timeline on track. Once you hit Submit, your application leaves your dashboard and enters the U.S. government's internal review workflow. Applying your digital signature finalizes the submission. At that exact moment, DECCS generates a unique GC tracking ID for your records. Your request then enters interagency review. Here, the State Department coordinates directly with the Department of Defense to evaluate the risks associated with the new destination and the new end user. If the review is successful, the system generates an approved General Correspondence Letter. This document contains specific legal provisos outlining exactly how the transfer must be handled. Understanding this interagency pipeline allows compliance officers to set realistic timeline expectations for foreign partners waiting to move hardware. Once the DDTC issues an approval, the final administrative phase begins. The physical movement or legal transfer of an ITAR-controlled item can never occur based on verbal agreements or assumed permissions. You must provide a copy of the official DDTC General Correspondence Approval Letter to your foreign partner. That document is their only legal green light to proceed. Under ITAR Section 123.22b, you are required to log this exact transaction and securely retain all associated records for a minimum of 5 years. To make sure you complete every required step, download the retransfer compliance checklist from the video description below. And stick around for our next tutorial, where we will cover how to manage technical data releases. Securing your DS-6004 approval and archiving it properly keeps your supply chain moving. It guarantees that your international transactions remain authorized, documented, and fully compliant with U.S. law.